I love me a company, specifically a knife company that has a story, American based and bred, pumping out knives manufactured by American citizens here in America, but also have a great story behind them. And that's the thing about Benchmade. As much as we talk about the butterfly tax, they have a story, they have a foundation. Even foundations of companies like Three Rivers Manufacturing, Montana Knife Company. And now that brings me to a company I've completely slept on, but I've immersed myself in their story. Bradford Knives, started by Brad Larkin. He's an enthusiast and entrepreneur with a lot of experience in manufacturing, and it shows in the way that they carry their knives. Now, they started with very, very humble beginnings. They started in 2012, first putting out the Gatsby knife, which was a steak knife. And imagine you're the customer who gets the Gatsby steak knife. For some reason, you love it so much, you start using it for other crap, cutting boxes, working in warehouses, tackling zip ties, whittling wood. And Bradford started to take notice that their customers wanted more. That brings us to their extremely popular line of the Bradford Guardian 3. And you can get this thing done in over 300 combinations when it comes to the blade, the finish, the scales, etc. But they continue to listen to their customer. The thing about Bradford is that they are customer driven. And that would brings us to the Bradford Guardian 3.2. You can get this in multiple steel options. You can get the M390. I have it here in the Magna Cut HH, which I think stands for high heat. All I can tell you is that I have been using this since I got it at Blade, Texas, and not one time have I thought to myself, time to get you sharpened, time to lay a strop on you. And this is including stuff like whittling woods, purposely taking it with me on rucks, using it for everyday carry type of tasks. This has gotten the job done. Let me tell you what I like about this model. I have not specifically carried very much the Bradford 3, but I understand the upgrades that were offered by Bradford in this knife. The early success of their knives is what continues to drive this company, and I really believe is why they're doing so well. With the Bradford 3.2, they've added this finger guard, they've added this choil, and it just makes it so easy when you're using the knife like this, and then you purposely have your other hand behind the knife. If you're trying to use it for whatever reason, if you're using it for scraping, prying, if you're trying to create some tinder or whatever with wood, it makes it so much more confident. That's the thing is I oftentimes don't like carrying a fixed blade because if they don't have the right finger protection, I kind of just go back to what I know, which is a folder. This thing gives you so much protection to get back there. The jipping on the back of this allows for you to just rest your hand there. You can place your hand right here. Maybe in the next iteration, we get some jipping back here, but it just allows for you to use this knife in all sorts of ways. This is a great knife. They've also changed the way that the grip feels. But the thing is they've made it much more thick. You still got a saber grind, you still have just the same amount of cutting edge. So you're still getting 3 inches of cutting edge, but they completely changed the dimensions of this and just made it feel that much more comfortable. Not only are they doing all of this with a made in America knife, they're doing this with an extremely aggressive price for the starting price. This thing starts off at about $199. It goes up depending on how you outfit it, but it totally makes sense. And with the scare of tariffs, and we're not sure about manufacturing, and just it's so crazy that we can have a company like Bradford who is pumping out a knife where they're very, very specifically focused on your manufacturing. They're focused on their lifetime guarantee. You can send this back in, you pay for shipping and handling, okay? But they will sharpen the knife for you. If you have any issues with it, they will take care of any issues that you have with the knife. And you know what's so crazy? The Bradford Guardian 3 came out in 2012 for $159, and they haven't changed their price. They're justified to change their price, even if they just changed it with inflation. They have not changed the price, the base starting price of the knife, which says a lot about a company. That whenever you have a company that says, I started off as an enthusiast and I just grew from there, this is the definition of a firm, of a company that seems to be ran by someone who loves knives. It's also an example because they are not wholly focused on pumping out as many numbers as they want. For an example, a lot of firms that I work with, a lot of knife companies I work with have affiliate programs. They don't have one. That means that if they send knives to a creator and we sell their knives, we get a cut of that sale. They don't have one. What does that mean? That means that they are focused on the customer. They are focused on improving their knife and not just pumping out as many numbers as possible. Now, I'm not crapping on the companies that do have affiliate programs, because they are still pumping out some good stuff as well. That brings us to today's video sponsor, Vaer, and their affordable line of watches as well. This is the S3 Field White watch. Now, listen. I'm a big fan of someone that has a story and someone who is very focused on their customer. Vaer wanted to bring the accessibility of a micro brand of a very, very durable watch to customers that can go from the ocean to the office and can be worn every single day without an issue. One thing I like about this watch is that it has evolved from the very beginnings of Vaer to still having a watch that has affordability. Comes with 2 watch bands. It has a 2-year waterproof guarantee, fantastic quartz movement, but you can still snatch this thing up for less than $200. It makes me get the same type of vibes as Bradford, where you get that good starting price. This thing looks beautiful. It has the date calculation on there, big, easy to read dial, with the field white with the black numbers on top. And listen, you get 2 straps with this bad boy. I opted to upgrade and get myself the NATO strap. I think this thing looks good in 36 millimeters. I've talked about this tons of times before, that you can get this in 36 or 40 millimeter. So many of us nowadays are all about the 40 millimeter watch. We want bigger, we want better. But if you get something that has this classic styling, I guarantee you're going to love it. Here's the thing, I've talked about this also. It is very hard to find me a competitor that gets you a sapphire crystal glass, a lockdown screw down crown. It has a 2-year waterproof guarantee, a big, beautiful, well done quartz movement, and you get all that for less than $200. Find the competitor out there that's doing that. I'll wait. Comment down below. Use the code on the screen to get 10% off this watch or any other eligible watch on Vaer's website. I'm telling you, if you decide to snatch this thing up, you will not be disappointed. Just how I've been feeling with the Bradford made in the USA 3.2 when it comes to their Guardian. Now, I have been getting myself some CPM Magna Cut blades lately. And the thing is that the one thing I appreciate is just how long we get this edge retention, how long I have to go between sharpening. And that's the thing that I've been liking the most. I've been getting more fixed blade knives in, stuff from TKL, stuff from Montana Knife Company. I got stuff from Tour. And the thing is that for the last month, after carrying those for a couple days here, a week there, I'm looking over missing this knife, and it makes so much sense. Here's the thing. It comes with a leather sheath, and this thing easily goes through your belt. For an upgrade on their website, you can get a Kydex sheath, which has this. I know this is a small thing, and I own a lot of knives from a lot of high-end brands. But if I'm going to be wearing a knife on my belt, right? First of all, I want 2 things. I want quick access to it, to my belt, so I don't have to run my belt through it, because there's a lot of times I get dressed in my closet, I get dressed in the bathroom. My knife's nowhere near either one of those 2 places. Okay, normally my knives are locked up in my toolbox. So when I get to my knife, I like to finally be able to just snap it over the belt and wear it. That makes life very, very easy to be able to snap that onto the belt. Secondly, normally I immediately run out and get some type of Alti clip, something like that, and put it on my sheaths, and I run these knives in my pocket. This has made it so convenient to wear this thing horizontally on my belt. I have no issues with it because of this little thumb push right here, which makes it easy to deploy the knife, bring your hand up, and you're ready to get into your cutting type of action. I didn't think that that really mattered. Also, look how well done the sheath is. You hear that snap? That just means that shakeage, we got, let's go with low shakeage. Let's go with medium shakeage. Let's go with crazy shakeage. Sheath is built like butter. So I love the snap action on there. Hear that one more time. Just that lovely action of the sheath. I think that's well done. It's a well done upgrade if you decide to do that. And if, like I say, if you decide in the future to get yourself an Alti clip or one of their competitors, which Alti clips also made in America, get that done as well. Get yourself something like a three by one, maybe I think they make a 3x3, whatever they're called. It will fit these holes very easily. You can run this in your pocket, but with this finger, this thumb little deployment right here, it's extremely comfortable to just rock this thing on your belt. You're not going to have any issues with it whatsoever. Now, I need more time with the OG. I can't tell you a lot about the OG because the 3.2 has just had me in a headlock since I started carrying it. But I can tell you first impressions just with an immediate comparison to its now big brother. The way the geometry on the scales is completely different. I don't know what customers have been telling Bradford over the last few years since the Bradford Guardian 3 came out, but they obviously listen. It feels completely different. You can tell that they thought about that geometry in the hands. They've also done a lot with this choil. So the finger guard is way more pronounced. See, I can slip up on that blade pretty easily there. With this, they've added the sharpening choil is there, so if you can do that on your own. But there's also a very pronounced finger choil, very pronounced finger guard for you to get up on the knife and use it for those tasks with lower risk of your hand slipping up onto the blade itself. And that is extremely well appreciated. If we didn't even think about that before, you're still getting the grind, but the thing they've also done is you're still getting the same amount of cutting edge, which is 3 inches, but I think they've actually made the amount of exposed steel longer. So I think it's 3.5 inches for the blade, still cutting edge of 3 inches. That's how they were able to get that finger guard in there, which makes a ton of sense as well. You can still change out the scales yourself if you want to, that good full tang goodness on there. Now, this knife does work for me as is. I can get 3 of my fingers on there comfortably. My pinky's barely over the lanyard hole. I still am considering getting myself a leather, make a hangman noose back here, add some leather like I've done on some smaller lines. Let me show you, on something like this. So this is the TKL DP1. This is a very nice small knife, but the thing about this knife is that it definitely is a 2-finger knife. And the only way to really comfortably use this knife is with a hangman noose with some type of lanyard on there. Otherwise, your fingers are just going to be hanging off. So I don't think I need to make this type of lanyard for this knife. I think it's just going to make it cluttered for me personally. I'm not a big fan of too much clutter when it comes to my knives, but there are things about this that I could see some improvements in the future. And I don't know a lot about how quickly they respond to customer feedback. But I think from what I've been reading on Facebook and on kind of like Reddit, they are very responsive. So you see these contour designs on the scales of this TKL where it kind of just grooves for your finger. I don't know how many people or hands they would have to test over the years to see if they can get something like that in a future iteration for some scales. Just a little bit more pronounced area for the fingers. How well would that be able to be done with this? I'm not quite sure, but that might be something that we consider in the future as well. And as I mentioned earlier, if we can get, if we can get some type of like jipping here so that there are times when I'm doing utility cuts and I want something to just keep my finger from slipping when I'm doing that. Or if I'm using a knife in this type of position and I'm using it as in a push type motion, it would be nice, fast, some jipping back there to keep there. But the profile of the blade does allow for you to use this on a ferro rod. That might get in the way if they add too much jipping up there. And it also will kind of dirty up the blade, just the look of it itself. But that's just maybe an option for the future that we might want to be able to see. I like the pricing. I'm going to link this up down below for some good distributors that can hook you up with this thing as well. I am a big fan of this knife. I'm a big fan of the company. I'm a big fan of the story. I love the fact that they are customer driven, lifetime warranty, made in the USA. And there's just so much versatility and durability in the Bradford Guardian 3 in the 3.2. Comment down below. What do you think of the Bradford Guardian 3.2? Would you get it in Magna Cut? Would you get it in M390? Do you even care about the high heat or the HH? If this is your first time stopping by, well, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.